Hey guys and gals, it's your buddies Drew and Ralphie with Living History's Mysteries and Ferocious Feline Productions. Y'all probably don't recognize where I'm at, but for those of you that are Seth MacFarlane fans like I am, you're going to recognize the archive section on the USS Orville. USS Orville has been on for 3 seasons, and it is the latest iteration in the sci-fi genre. You guys know how much I enjoy doing the history of entertainment, be it radio, be it movies, whatever. I couldn't think of a better setting than the historic archives on the USS Orville to look in to the history of sci-fi entertainment.
What's the matter? Oh, crap. Sorry, man. You okay?
Yeah, it's all good, man. You okay?
Yeah, all good. Sorry.
All right, no worries.
I'm not going to go into a lot of detail though. I'm going to let the computer do it. Check this out. This is good. Computer, run History Archive Drew 1, The History of Sci-Fi.
Greetings. From its humble beginnings in the early 1900s to the groundbreaking developments of this era, I'll uncover the stories behind the visionary filmmakers who dared to push the boundaries of the imagination. Today we'll look at the films from 1900 to 1915, while times were rapidly changing, both not only in film, but in current events, science, technology, and culture. These early science fiction films not only entertained, but also reflected the cultural and societal context of their time. Especially after the start of the First World War in 1914, they tapped into the collective anxieties, hopes, and dreams of the early 20th century, exploring the impact of rapid technological progress on society and contemplating the ethical implications of scientific advancements. Science fiction films in the early 20th century may not be recognized today by the traditional tropes we understand. The genre at the time was still a mix of science fiction, fantasy, horror, adventure, and experimentation that evolved with the technology of the 20th century. We'll begin to see more recognizable sci-fi elements in this decade. During the early part of the decade, the field of special effects in film was still in its infancy, but there were several notable advancements that emerged with this time. These pioneering techniques laid the groundwork for the evolution of special effects in later years. Some of the key innovations made during this time include stop-motion animation. This technique involves capturing individual frames of a physical model or object, moving it slightly between each frame, and then playing back the frames in sequence to create the illusion of movement. Would become popular with Gertie the dinosaur in 1914. Multiple exposures. The technique was used to superimpose multiple images on a single frame, allowing filmmakers to create transparent effects. Miniature models. Filmmakers began experimenting with models to create realistic and practical effects in this time. These models were used to depict cities, ships, and various objects that were too expensive or difficult to recreate in full. We saw this technique used in episode 1 with the airship destroyer from 1909, and we'll see it later in this episode with Der Tunnel, a German film from 1915. Optical printing. This technique involves the manipulation of film footage using various processes, such as matte shots, dissolves, and fades, allowing for more seamless transitions between scenes. This was also a way to combine live action footage with other visual elements. This process was used in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from 1913 to depict the transformation of the protagonist. Early filmmakers of this time were resourceful and innovative, and they laid the foundation for the advancements that would come in the decades ahead. Now let's delve into the early innovations in science fiction films from 1910 to 1912. Frankenstein from 1910 was the earliest adaptation of Mary Shelley's timeless novel. This pioneering work introduced audiences to the iconic monster and laid the foundation for the future interpretations of the story. Written and directed by J. Cyril Dawley and produced by Thomas Edison, the film explores the themes of scientific ambition, the consequences of playing God, and the moral implications of creating life. It raises the questions about humanity's responsibility towards its creations. The film's depiction of the monster was groundbreaking for its time. Actor Charles Ogle's portrayal captured the creature's many aspects, from his monstrous behavior to more sympathetic sides to his character. The use of makeup and special effects, even with the limitations and constraints of the era, created a sense of horror and awe. Filmed with a small cast, it is more of an intimate story, and not the horror version we'll get to see in later adaptations, such as the iconic version from Universal Studios in 1931. By adapting Shelley's novel, Frankenstein contributed to the popularization of science fiction as a film genre. It laid the groundwork for future exploration of themes such as humanity's relationship with technology, the ethics of scientific advancement, and the consequences of tampering with the natural order. Critical reception at the time praised the monster, however, some were not as thrilled. W. Stephen Bush wrote a negative review in the moving picture world. Bush was one of the first critics to worry about what could and should be shown in films. I have the sincerest admiration for the Edison and Vitagraph studios, but it must be said with all due deference to these distinguished producers that such films such as Frankenstein and The Mystery of the Temple Court, while delightful literature to coroners, undertakers, grave diggers, and morgue keepers, fail to please the general public. Fail to please is putting it mildly. Death scenes and executions are interesting historical reading when well described, but a portrayal of these things on a living screen may well be dispensed with. This review seems so tame compared to what critics publish today. I actually appreciated this adaptation. Though short and intimate, I do like that it is a personal story rather than the monsterverse stories of the 30s. The acting is more serious, the sets and costumes more realistic. The lead up to the introduction of the monster sets the tone for the rest of the story. The first sight of the monster is awe-inspiring and hints at the horror versions we'll see in later times. For many years, this film was considered lost, and historians had only stills and a plot synopsis. However, a copy was discovered in the 1970s. Our next film was not so lucky and is still considered lost. The Aerial Anarchist is a 1911 British silent film from director Walter R. Booth. I discussed Booth in my previous episode when looking at his film, The Airship Destroyer from 1909. The film was part of a series by Booth about aerial warfare, which before World War I was more of a science fiction idea rather than actual fact. However, we must acknowledge the loss of many films from this era. Numerous works have tragically vanished, leaving us with only a fragmented knowledge of the early science fiction cinema landscape. Film preservation becomes more crucial as we strive to rediscover and restore lost gems. So I must rely on limited online sources for any information about the plot of this film. The plot synopsis we know of is based on a catalog produced at the time about an aerial attack on London by airships of unknown origins. Aviation film historian Michael Paris in From the Wright Brothers to Top Gun, Aviation, Nationalism, and Popular Cinema, published in 1995, described the connection of the aerial anarchist to the novels of Jules Verne. Clearly the paradox that while the flying machine could be a powerful agent of civilization and progress in the wrong hands, it could also be a terrifying engine of destruction, which would change the whole nature of warfare. The synopsis of the story from the catalog published at the time reads, The Aerial Anarchist. This thrilling and amazing film depicts with far more realism than could be conveyed by the pen of the imaginative novelist the horrors of warfare upon society if carried on by means of the latest development of mechanics, aviation. The picture is a series of thrills from beginning to end, but the most extraordinary and vivid incidents are the bombardment of St. Paul's Cathedral from an aeroplane and a railway accident in which a train leaps into a chasm. These exciting scenes are so magnificent and realistically staged that they fill the audience with amazement and mystification. I did appreciate Booth's 1909 The Airship Destroyer, so I was hoping to find another film in this series. Hopefully a copy is eventually found and restored. The Conquest of the Pole is a 1912 French film from legendary filmmaker Georges Méliès, as he tried to depart from his signature fantastical style. While Méliès's earlier works mesmerized audiences with their imaginative worlds and enchanting illusions, The Conquest of the Pole demonstrated his transition to a more grounding narrative. However, as the film industry evolved, Méliès faced challenges: the changing audience demand for more realistic narratives, the emergence of longer films, and financial difficulties all contributed to his decline in success. The outbreak of World War I further disrupted his career. Audiences did not flock to see this film. They were over his fantastical style, though it remains an important piece of the sci-fi film history puzzle. In The Conquest of the Pole, Méliès employs a range of special effects techniques from transport viewers to icy landscapes of the Arctic. The film combines stage sets, miniature models, and in-camera tricks to create a sense of wonder. His use of superimposition to merge scenes and create the illusion of characters walking on water or floating in the air. He also incorporates hand-painted color and intricate set designs to enhance the visual spectacle. Beyond its technical achievements, the film also discusses the themes of exploration, adventure, and the human desire to conquer the unknown. Possibly based on Robert E. Peary's expedition to the North Pole in 1909, it embodies the 20th century desire to explore the world. Though I appreciate Méliès trying to challenge himself, I found the film stuck in the previous decade and nowhere near as sophisticated as the others discussed in this episode. Next, the expansion and experimentation of science fiction films from 1913 to 1915. In Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from 1913, a film directed by Herbert Brennan, we witness the transformative performance of the lead actor who skillfully portrays contrasting personalities. The film delves into the dark side of human nature as Dr. Jekyll's scientific experiments unleash his inner demons and expose the consequences of tampering with the boundaries of science. Using dissolve techniques and the contrast between light and shadow, the transformation of the protagonist's appearance, and the intense psychological struggle depicted on screen all contribute to the film's immersive and haunting experience. It raised ethical dilemmas about the pursuit of knowledge and the consequences of unchecked experimentation. This film laid the foundation for future explorations of the duality with human nature and the moral implications of scientific advancements. The success of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde paved the way for subsequent adaptations and influenced the development of horror and psychological thriller genres. Its enduring impact can still be felt in contemporary films that explore the themes of identity, morality, and the dark side of human nature. The atmosphere and tone was fascinating. Watching Dr. Jekyll realize that he is losing control over Mr. Hyde. The dual life he leads as both the respected Dr. Jekyll and the malicious Mr. Hyde becomes increasingly unsustainable. In the end, he is unable to control his fate and loses himself to Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was praised for his atmospheric and evocative portrayal of the duality of human nature. A Message from Mars is a 1913 British science fiction comedy film directed by J. Wallet Waller. The film follows a materialistic and self-absorbed man who receives an unexpected visit from an extraterrestrial being from Mars. The Martian is sent to Earth to help the man reform his selfish ways and find true happiness. Through a series of whimsical and thought-provoking encounters, he learns valuable lessons about compassion, selflessness, and the true meaning of life. The film explores the themes of moral redemption and social commentary, offering a critique of societal values while providing a humorous and heartwarming journey of personal transformation. A Message from Mars remains a significant early work in science fiction cinema, using fantastical premise to deliver a profound and uplifting message about the importance of kindness and empathy. It's difficult to watch this film and not think of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, though the film itself was based on a popular play of the same name written in 1899 by Richard Ganthony. It's nice to see a more comedic film in this series, and it was popular with British audiences at the time who enjoyed a mix of genres and the moral message of helping the poor. Der Tunnel is a 1915 German film directed by William Wauer and was inspired by Bernard Kellerman's novel. It tells the story of an ambitious engineering project, the construction of a tunnel between Europe and America. Motivated by the real-life proposal for an undersea tunnel, the film immerses viewers in a world of technical marvels and the audacious dreams. Major construction projects were already made reality when the Panama Canal was completed on August 15, 1914. Der Tunnel reflects the visionary mindset of the early 20th century, showcasing the power of human determination and technical progress. This film demonstrates the excitement and aspirations surrounding the groundbreaking engineering endeavors. When looking at history, it is important to understand what else was going on in the world. So let's look at some of the historical and cultural events that occurred between 1900 and 1915. First off, the significant cultural events of this period that left a lasting impact on society. The premiere of Igor Stravinsky's ballet The Firebird on June 25, 1910. This groundbreaking ballet, with its innovative music and choreography, marked a significant development in the world of classical music and dance. The Armory Show in New York City, 1913. This landmark international art exhibition introduced American audiences to avant-garde European art movements, such as Cubism and Fauvism, challenging traditional artistic norms and expanding the horizons of American art. Next, some historical events of this period that shaped society. The Mexican Revolution, 1910 to 1920. This conflict led to political and social upheaval, resulting in the overthrow of the president and the establishment of a new government. The sinking of the RMS Titanic in the early morning of the hours of April 15th. The luxury British passenger liner struck an iceberg and sank during its maiden voyage, resulting in the loss of over 1,500 lives and leading to widespread changes in maritime safety regulations. The Balkan Wars, 1912 to 1913, a series of conflicts in the Balkan region involving several states and the Ottoman Empire. These wars resulted in territorial changes and shifts in power dynamics throughout Europe. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, June 28, 1914. The assassination of the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne in Sarajevo by a Serbian nationalist led to the outbreak of World War I. This war would last until an armistice was signed on November 11, 1918. The completion of the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal is a strategic waterway connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. This engineering marvel revolutionized global trade and transportation. This decade also saw some significant scientific and technological advancements which would make future science fiction ideas possible. Discovery of protons and the structure of the nucleus, 1911. Physicist Ernest Rutherford conducted experiments that led to the discovery of protons, the positively charged particles found in the nucleus of atoms. This discovery contributed to the development of atomic theory and our understanding of atomic structure. The Bohr model of the atom, 1913. Danish physicist Niels Bohr proposed a model of the atom that incorporated quantum theory, introducing the idea of discrete energy levels and electron orbits. This model played a crucial role in advancing our understanding of atomic physics. The theory of general relativity, 1915. Albert Einstein developed the theory of general relativity, which revolutionized our understanding of gravity and the fabric of space-time. This theory laid the foundation for modern physics and had far-reaching implications for our understanding of the universe. Let's take a detour to explore the broader landscapes of filmmaking, both in Hollywood and internationally during this period. While our focus is primarily on science fiction films, it is important to look at the wider context in which these films were produced and the diverse range of cinematic works being created at the time. The premiere of Charlie Chaplin's iconic character, the Tramp, in 1914. Chaplin's portrayal of the lovable and hapless tramp became an enduring symbol of silent film comedy and had significant impact on the development of cinematic humor. The Tramp first appeared in a series of short films for Keystone Studios. Gertie the Dinosaur, 1914. Directed by Winsor McCay, this animated short film featured Gertie, a friendly and playful dinosaur. It was one of the earliest examples of character animation and showcased McCay's innovative use of animation techniques. Cinderella, 1914. Directed by James Kirkwood, this silent film adaptation of the classic fairy tale became a critical and commercial success. It was praised for its enchanting storyline, lavish production design, and the performance of actress Mary Pickford in the title role. The Birth of a Nation, 1915. Directed by D.W. Griffith. This epic silent film became one of the most influential and controversial movies of all time. It depicted the American Civil War and Reconstruction era, showcasing innovative story techniques and ambitious production values. Les Vampires, 1915, follows the adventure of a journalist and a gang of criminals known as the Vampires. This series popularized the use of cliffhangers and suspenseful storytelling techniques by Louis Feuillade. This French silent crime serial revolutionized the genre. Between 1910 and 1915, several important events occurred in the film industry. The formation of film studios. In the early 1910s, major film studios started to emerge, establishing the foundation of the modern studio system. Companies like Universal Pictures, Paramount Pictures, and Warner Brothers were founded during this time, playing a pivotal role in the production, distribution, and exhibition of films. Introduction of feature-length films. The transition from shorter films to feature-length movies began during this period. Filmmakers started exploring longer narratives, and movies with running times over an hour became more common. This shift allowed for more complex storytelling and character development in films.
And there you have it. That's the history of science fiction entertainment from 1900 to 1915. leaps and bounds were being made in the entertainment industry. We were still in the silent movie era, but we were starting to get sound, at least music, in those movies.
Are you serious? What? No way, come on!
And the bijous and the movie houses were filling up, and people were loving it. What's the future hold for entertainment? Well, your imagination is your only limit. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. God love you. We do. And we'll see you out there.